That this is Dr. Aajay Shah, and we are doing this happiness interactive workshop. We are on segment 10, about halfway through. Uh, Segment 10. If you're on YouTube, if you have not watched segment 1 to 10, please go and watch segment 1 to 10 in a row and start segment 10 now. Watch segment 1 to 9, segment 1 to 9. This is segment 10. One of the reason many times we have a less chance of being happy because we predict that wrong experiences or wrong things, wrong negative events will make us unhappy more often and longer. Again, this is an impact bias. For example, when a loved one dies in our family, we think that this is a doom scenario. All our life will be unhappy. But we all have experienced that even losing the closest person in our life, most loved one person in our life, our life moves on in few days, few weeks, few months, few years. All the happy memory stays, but at the same time, unhappiness itself starts to dissolve. So again, we have impact bias. We predict that any event happens will make us unhappy, but in reality, that's not the case. We also have a negativity bias. This negativity bias concept is an important thing to remember. This concept is millions of years old. To give you an example, when a human was in savanna jungle, when a tiger or lion was behind that jungle, behind those bushes or the grass, and if the person did not pay attention to the lion or tiger, did not run, he would have died. So whenever he goes through those bushes, he always has a recall there could be a lion or tiger behind those bushes. So it's very cautious. So he has this negativity bias of seeing any bushes that there could be a lion or tiger. So again, this is the carrot and stick principle. Whenever we get a carrot, we always sometimes have a less chance of paying attention to it, but we always have a more chance of paying attention to stick. So again, so this is a negativity bias where we always remember both implicitly and explicitly, more of it implicitly about negative experiences. So again, subconsciously, we always remember our negative experiences. And this is a great slide for the people who can see on the screen the negativity bias. For example, I can describe this slide that a person walking on a street sees another person walking a dog, and the person who's walking, first thing, his mind thinks that this dog can bite him because maybe possibly either he had a bite from a dog in the past, or whatever the reason, maybe he has read about dog bites, maybe he's scared about dog bites. So first thing he thinks of is this very pleasant puppy or pleasant dog, that this dog can bite him. So again, this is a negativity bias. So we always think of negative thing in our life from the past or from the reading about it, about implicitly, subconsciously. Like many of us have fear of spider. I've never myself personally gone through spider bite, but I have extreme high fear of spider, or for example, snake. And we all have those negativity bias. Even if we see a rope sitting on a dark street, we sometimes think it's a snake because we have an implicit negativity bias of thinking anything which looks like a rope. So again, this is negativity bias. What else is make unhappy? There's a concept called focalism. Focalism, where we focus 100% on negative event, and then we forget what else is good thing in happening. For example, if we lose a job, there are other 10 things happening in our life, including a great wife, great kids, great house, great car, great financial stability. But when we lose the job, we think that doom is happening. We are never going to come out of this doom. We're going to be so unhappy for the rest of our life. But we forget that there are other 10 things which are good in our life. There's only one thing which is not the good thing. So one negative experience we think is the end of our happiness. So again, that's called focalism. And we need to prevent the focalism by keeping a list of what good things happening in our life. And I'll explain you how to keep a journal. I've recorded a great video on journaling. Matter of fact, it's on YouTube already. Reach out to our YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah, and read that, watch that video on journaling. That video clearly shows you how you can avoid focalism, how you can look at the list of the things which makes you happy. So that way, one unhappy thing which will not make you focal on just one negative experience. That brings to this great philosopher from London, from England, Bertrand Russell, and he clearly, very wise man. His grandfather was obviously the Prime Minister of England, and he clearly says that there are multiple reasons for people to be unhappy, and the most important is meaninglessness. We'll cover that in detail as we go. Second thing, people are very competitive. Competition is good, but in my opinion, it should be healthy combination. It should be very low stress. I call eustress competition. But if you are too competitive, there's a more chance of unhappy. People who are bored are unhappy. People who physically and mentally get tired, people who don't take enough rest are unhappy. People who have envy are unhappy. People who have a lot of guilt and shame are unhappy. People who are very self-absorbed and people who have a big ego are unhappy. People who also have fear of public opinion, people who think too much what other people are thinking about them are also unhappy. So again, these are the great reasons from Bertrand Russell. I highly recommend. He has a great book on happiness. Many years old, a great book on happiness. Again, that brings to the conclusion of our current segment, and let's reflect on it. What top 3 negative life events do you remember? So what top 3 negative life events do you remember? Again, right now, as soon as you are done with this lecture, get your phone out and write down the 5 things you are thankful of. So I want you to start a gratitude journal starting today. And best way to write gratitude journal is in your phone. Obviously, you can do it on a paper and pen also, but phone is always with you, so that way you can read your gratitude list anytime, wherever you are. So as soon as this seminar is over, as soon as this lecture is over, please get your phone out and write down the 5 things you are thankful for. This concludes our current segment. Again, we are on YouTube, so you can watch all the segments. You can watch it again and again. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. Please like all our social media. Invite your friends and family. We post on a daily basis. For example, we post on Facebook 5 to 6 times a day about healthy living tips, both for physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. And I can assure you that I take a lot of efforts. I spend a lot of time. I have a great support from my wife, from kids, a great support from Hannah, our social media person. And I try to maintain very high quality on all of our social media. So please go ahead and like all social media, invite your friends and family. Thank you.